How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today's World of Tanks console video or update news video looks at the brand new season coming to World of Tanks console. We're going to get through all of the news. There's plenty of it. There's loads of new stuff coming in. This is going to be a massive update, basically. It's like the precursor news drop for the next season, along with some information as to what we will be seeing during the period of the next season, and some expected new tanks. We've got new update info. We have a whole lot of new stuff coming into the game, and hopefully we get the content split between World War II and the Cold War in favour of World War II, at least in my opinion, because that's where I'd like to see more content coming back into the game. Now, What is this new season that I'm talking about? Well, it is World of Tanks G.I. Joe. So this is basically Wargaming coming into collaboration with Hasbro, and they're going to do this kind of team up to be able to bring you G.I. Joe. It's going to be forming part of a season that will run from the latter half of June. So I think it's like June 26th is when the next season will probably come out. And then that will run then from June 26th, or it could be the following week. We don't know for sure or for definite, but it will be either straight after this season ends, or it will be 1 week after this season ends that the next season kind of comes out, because they have done in the past, whereby they delayed it for a week and then we got the next season the following week. Now, what will come as part of this new season? Well, obviously we're going to get G.I. Joe themed commanders. We're probably going to get a skin that will be G.I. Joe themed. We'll have some sort of maybe something coming into the game with various different cosmetics. I'm sure that what we will get is some emblems, customization things. We'll also probably get some skins for new tanks that come into the game as well. So we'll be looking at things like a brand new premium tank with a new premium skin that is related to G.I. Joe. So those are the things that we're more than likely going to be getting. We'll get into the actual nitty gritty bits with regards to what Wargaming have talked about on their most recent update stream with Minto Vimto. Now, there's quite a lot that have actually come into the game recently, and there's definitely lots coming to the game early or late June, early July. So this is the kind of time where you want to be coming back onto World of Tanks. There'll be plenty of new content, and there's certainly, I'll try and keep you updated as to all of that new update news as it comes when we are given it by Wargaming. You know, it is kind of periodic, and I'm hoping that actually, given their schedule that they've given us, with it being on like a 4 and 3 day rota kind of thing, I will have that on screen right now, so if you want to have a look at that, then you can. It's June 11th, June 15th, June 18th, June 25th is when we're getting various different information looking at the G.I. Joe maps, future of World of Tanks Modern Armour, and Modern Armour Part 2, so that's kind of looking through what's going to be coming within this update. Now, back to what actually is coming soon or in the short term. So we've got a few things coming on Tuesday with regards to the update. You know, we have the weekly updates. This isn't related to the season, but you guys should probably know about it. And that is icon damage flash getting stuck on will be fixed. So, you know, when you take some damage and it gets stuck on there, you know, you've already repaired it, it will be fixed. Don't know, you know, these things should already be fixed when they come into the game, but, you know, we'll give it a bit of an allowance, I guess. But yeah, hopefully that will be fixed on Tuesday, and that what happens is nothing else gets broken when they fix this thing, because apparently spaghetti code is a thing on World of Tanks. Now, on Tuesday, we will also be getting the A43 Black Prince prototype, the British Tier 6 heavy tank. There should be like an overview of this on screen right now, so you can have a look at that yourself. It's basically this Tier 6 Churchill. It kind of looks like that. You know, we had the British Bulldog a little bit a while ago. Well, this is basically that kind of looking tank. Looks actually pretty cool. Don't know whether it will be any good yet. We haven't been given any statistics to the tank, but hopefully that will come fairly soon, and we will definitely cover it for you within this channel. So make sure that you stay subscribed to the channel, or you can also just tune back in on a weekly basis on the Tuesday or whenever you fancy to have a look at the update news, because we will definitely cover everything like that on this channel. Now, as far as what's coming in the next couple of weeks, a bit longer term, the next month and going forward on World of Tanks console, we will basically be having a few fixes. So we're going to have lots of fixes and improvements coming at the end of the month in the next update. So this is when I would expect G.I. Joe to come in. We'll probably be having it at the end of the month, along with potentially some new maps, which I'm really, really stoked about. And we'll talk about that in a little more detail in a second. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of fixes and improvements. So hopefully all of the little bugs and stuff like that have been in the game will be removed. And so we can actually get on with actually playing the game pretty smoothly. Hopefully, at least that's what I'm thinking. But obviously, Wargaming can do whatever they want. And, we don't have much of a choice about it. Now, as far as what they're also doing, they have confirmed that the team is still working hard on barrel/reticle on terrain fix. So this is where your barrel just suddenly looks skyward, which is really annoying. But hopefully that will actually be sorted. But we don't know. And so I just really hope that they sort that out as soon as possible, because it is affecting gameplay. And I know a lot of you have been saying about this in game. So yeah, that's something I really want done as soon as possible. Now, extra things. We have no changes to the marks of excellence. Basically, so we aren't going to have any changes to how they work. A tracking system will be added though, so you will be able to see some sort of tracking system. Don't know how that's going to work. Not much information here, but yeah, hopefully it's some sort of data that we can have a look at, because any statistic is always good in my personal opinion. You don't have to look at it, but if you are interested in that sort of thing, it will be coming into the game hopefully soon. Now, with regards to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One X overheating issues, they are basically being investigated. It's a case of where I think it's to do with the smoke, basically. So when tanks fire, when you've got lots of smoke from the wrecks of dead tanks, you will also have like various different other things that cause lots of smoke in the game, and when all of that combines, it basically causes this overheating issue, and it will crash your World of Tanks console client. So that's kind of the problems that I know some of my friends have been dealing with when they're playing what console. So yeah, I really don't like the fact that that hasn't been fixed yet. These things should be tested, especially when you're bringing in smoke consumables, and I can only think what it's like on the Cold War game mode, where you've got lots and lots of smoke and people can actually pop smoke. I'm just talking about the World War II game mode, so heaven knows what that's actually like on the Cold War game mode on World of Tanks. Now, as far as RNG, what's currently being worked upon, so yeah, they're basically looking into how RNG is currently working. We've got the plus 15% possibility of high rolling, or it's basically a case where you can high roll on your damage by 15%, or you could low roll on your damage by 25%. So you've got a chance of, say, if you have 100 damage, you could low roll for 75 damage, but you could high roll for 115 damage, just for ease of kind of explanation. So you're more likely, or not more likely, but you will more than likely be doing less damage in your games than you will be doing more damage than your average roll. So that's kind of annoying. Basically it just means that you'll do less damage per shot, on average anyway. So it's kind of annoying. And yeah, I don't know why they really did that. I'd like to see what their thought process was for that. Also means that you do get plus 25% accuracy, so you could high roll on accuracy by 25% and low roll on accuracy by 15%. So you're more accurate, but you do less damage, is basically how the RNG system is working, as opposed to what it used to be, where it was plus and minus 25%. I think it was prior to update 6.0. Now, moving on, we have also got difficulties balancing arty, so artillery in the game. Obviously there's a lot of controversy surrounding that, whether I'd want to personally see the splashing arty where it does this kind of stun mechanic. It's not something I want to see in the game. I think it's bad enough getting smacked for 3/4 of your health. That's done, you can't do anything then. But yeah, I think being constantly stunned by artillery is probably worse. And when I've talked to a lot of World of Tanks PC players, they also say that, it's not any better. In fact, in some cases, it's actually worse. So when people are saying we want the splash mechanic, it's actually probably worse than our current one, because at least at the end of the day, once you've been hit by artillery, you actually just take the damage and then you're done. I definitely think that maybe reducing the alpha damage of some of the artillery would just flat out damage reduction would make them a lot better, so that they can't just one-shot enemy tanks. I think that that's a real problem right now. They removed the Death Star because it was so they nerfed the Death Star because it was so OP that you could smack enemy tanks and take out full health tanks from the game in a mobile tank. But then you get tanks that can literally, or artillery that can sit in the base, they don't have to do anything, and then depending on whether or not the RNG in the game allows them to hit an opponent depends upon whether they get their game ruined or not. People saying that, well, you shouldn't be camping or whatever, that's not really a case. I can aim at someone at the front, which tends to be what people do in artillery because you have lower lead times. You've also got a better circle usually, and there's less chance of them actually moving out of the way of your shot because, by the time you've clicked fire and the time that it hits the enemy tank, it's less time than if they were further away. So people don't actually tend to go for the people that are further away in artillery. That is kind of what artillery is meant to be there for the campers at the back who also don't get spotted. Yeah, I just don't think that you should be able to one-shot tanks in artillery, that's for sure, in my personal opinion. And so I would just make a flat-out reduction in damage per shot without even increasing the reload of the tanks. I just don't think that you should be able to take that much health at all. And I don't think that they should increase the reload to make the DPM the same. Yeah, just nerf the actual alpha damage so that they can't just one-shot someone, because there's nothing like competitive, there's nothing fun about being removed from the game in one shot, realistically, for something that you cannot really control, other than, ruining your game in another way by just playing artillery safe, where you're just sat behind a building all game and you're not actually really impacting the game itself. So yeah, that's my opinion anyway. Now, obviously leave your comments in the comment section down below and let me know what you think about artillery. Obviously it's a big talking point, and I'd like to see what you think and your suggestions, because obviously I'm only one player, I only have one experience. You guys have plenty more combined than I do. So yeah, let me know what you think. As far as other things, we've also got a bit of engagement with regards to platooning, so clans and clan wars and stuff like that. 3-man platoons are basically they aren't the best thing for the matchmaker, because what that does is it's hard to balance the matchmaker with regards to having 5 heavy tanks on either side, then you have 3 mediums, 7 tank destroyers, whatever it is within that game. It's really hard to actually balance that. So often you have, on some games, 7 heavy tanks against 3 heavy tanks, 3 mediums and 2 tank destroyers or something like that. So it leads to this imbalance between the tank classes, and so yeah, it causes this extra strain which the matchmaker can't really deal with, and it's not very fun when you get a 5-man platoon of super unicums that are loading in with the dreadnought and they're just ruffle stomping tier 7 games. It's not really fun for the other 25 players in the game. Yeah, I just don't think that, from my trying to be unbiased, as much as I'd like to join up with 5 of you to actually have like a good games and have a laugh, for the rest of the players it's not particularly very fun, and being unbiased, it probably isn't balanced for the matchmaking at all really. And so it's a bit of a difficult thing whereby you're kind of negating some of the community aspect, but you're also kind of making the gameplay a little bit better by stopping people from 5-man platooning. I mean, if you take it from PC's perspective, they can only have 3 as well. I don't really think that having 3-man platoons is even that limiting. There's plenty of opportunity where you can have a bit of a laugh. You can always sign up with multiple platoons and hope that you get in the game and then you can play against each other. That's always kind of fun and something I used to do in the past, whereby you sign up into the game at the same time, hope that you're on the opposite team to your people in the party or your party chat or whatever it is that you're talking to them on, and yeah, it's always a bit of fun. Now, moving on again, we have got some talks about the T55A, so they're aiming to bring that into World War II in August. So this is a long time away, we're looking at 2 months, 3 months away before we will be able to actually get this in-game. And yeah, they're talking about basically bringing it into the World War II mode at the same time as it being in the Cold War. So whether that will mean that the people that own the T55A currently will be able to play it on both kind of servers, I'm not entirely sure, or whether it will just be a case of you can buy it on the Cold War or you can buy it on the standard one, or maybe they'll actually give you the T55A on both if you purchased it already. I don't know. This is only speculation, and hopefully you guys that did buy the T55A are actually interested in playing it on the World War II game mode. So yeah, thumbs up for that. I think that's a good idea. Nothing to real complain about there. Now, +1 -1 matchmaking. This is basically something. Yeah, it's something that I know a lot of you guys want. I had uploaded a poll on the channel a couple of days ago, or maybe a week ago or something like that, asking what you'd like to see most from the update, and we saw a lot of people wanting the +1 -1 matchmaking. Now, I know personally it is enjoyable to have the +1 -1 matchmaking. I think the only problem that I have with it, though, at the moment is obviously the strain on the matchmaker, being that we have the Cold War game mode at the same time, which, siphons off a smaller percentage of the player compared to World War II anyway. At least that's what I'm pretty sure. And then what that's going to do is it's hard to actually balance the thing. And so, yeah, it's hard to balance, but I definitely think +1 -1 is a good feature. It kind of makes people want to play some of the tanks and grind through the tech tree, because right now it's just premium spam at tier 8, and then you get into tier 10 games where everyone's just basically playing one or the two, because you either make no money when you're in your tech tree tanks and you're playing against all of these premiums all of the time if you're playing tier 6. Yeah, I think it will be much better to have +1 -1, and so Wargaming will be running another test next weekend, so not the one coming up as the recording of this video, but the following weekend we will be getting a +1 -1 matchmaking event for World War II, so you will be able to actually play +1 -1. They'll be monitoring the number of soft fails where the matchmaker tries to find the next best match, and hard fails. So this is basically, they'll be looking at how it's actually working and what's going on with the matchmaker, whether it's able to cope or not with having the +1 -1 matchmaking again. So yeah, always good. I think that's a good idea. Hopefully the test comes back well, and that it actually makes people want to come and jump back on the game, because I think that is a key talking point in trying to make the game a little bit better. Now, we do have one or a couple more things to kind of go over, but we're coming to the end of the video. We do have the able to adjust Cold War maps. So this is relating to the maps and the map rotation on the World War II mode. Basically, people are saying that they don't like the Cold War maps being in World War II, and to some degree I do agree, whereby, if you're coming up against someone in a heavy tank, and you're playing against artillery players, you've also got this problem where you're playing in a heavy tank. It's a massive map. There's not a lot of artillery cover on the new maps, other than, playing on Mannheim, but then, that is a town map where there's tons of buildings that you can get behind, so it's really hard not to be artillery safe, because it wasn't designed to have artillery, or at least it wasn't focused around the potential to have artillery. So I don't think that adding these new Cold War maps is necessarily the best idea. I think I don't really know how it works. I think that if they were to look at the World War II or Cold War maps, then I definitely think that they should be adding in like variants that actually provide more cover for heavy tanks, kind of change up the spawns maybe with regards to where you're going to be located, because I think on the World War II mode you obviously don't have the speed if you're playing in heavy tanks that you do on the Cold War game mode, and also, you know, some of the lines of sight don't really work very well, and yeah, I just think it just needs an overall balance rehaul and just some look for that. So yeah, I think that maybe removing some of the Cold War maps from World War II might be a good idea, but what they've said is basically this will mean you see less map variation. So I'd like to see what you guys think. Obviously leave that in the comment section down below as well. We'll be having a look at what this could potentially mean, and hopefully get a good discussion going down there in the comment section down below. So yeah, interested to see what you think. Obviously let other people know, have a little bit of discussion. I think it's always good. It always means that, you know, we come up with a good solution between us, and hopefully Wargaming kind of watch these videos and get some opinions from the comment section. Don't know if that happens, but maybe on the off chance that they do, it could be a good thing for the game. Now, regular tank balancing in World War II is being discussed and will be returning very soon. Well, finally, I mean, I don't know if it was ever there, but yeah, apparently it's returning. So yeah, I think that balancing could be good as long as it's done well. I think as long as they're looking into some of the tanks in the game, they're not going to look at premium tanks because it never happens. I think that bringing, or at least they won't nerf premium tanks. Maybe they should do a big overhaul of some of the older premiums rather than just making new ones whereby they could just buff some of the older ones. You know, people might want to play them a bit more, they're more likely to purchase them. I think it can bring back some real competitiveness with regards and diversity, because some of the old premiums, you know, you're looking at the Super Pershing, the T26E4, this thing is just so outdated. You know, the armor model does not work because, you know, it pretty much gets penned by everything. Its armor doesn't work, even though it's meant to. That's kind of why it would be used. It's so slow. It just compare that to the Draugr, and it's like it literally has nothing better. The Draugr's faster. Draugr has more bouncy armor. Like it literally bounces some random shots. Its main armament is better. You know, its mobility is better. It can literally do everything. Its view range is better. There's literally no reason that you'd play the Super Pershing over the Draugr. And so, yeah, I think that you should be looking at some of the older premiums, buffing them, making them more in line with the current game meta. And yeah, you can make some money off of that. It will probably take less effort as well than producing brand new tanks. And it means that people, you know, that had these older tanks that necessarily wouldn't spend money currently, can come back to the game. You know, it gives them a chance to actually play the game and stuff like that. And I think it's always a good community aspect whereby, you know, people that have been playing the game for a long time and had these old premiums will want to play them again, and they'll come back, they'll play the game. And it also means that newer players will be able to have a bit more diversity as to what tanks they would more than likely be buying, because they are the better ones in the game. So yeah, hopefully that comes back into the game. Tank balancing is always good, and so yeah, I think that's also something I'd love to see. Now, with regards to new content and new tanks and various different other tanks that should be coming into the game fairly soon, what Wargaming have basically said is that there will be more tanks coming back into both World War II and Cold War. There will also be the Italian heavies and the wheeled light tanks, I think, is what the CW light tanks are. And they will possibly be incoming for July. So I'm not entirely sure what I think about the wheeled light tanks. I am pretty sure that this is what this means, the wheeled light tanks. Not entirely sure, but yeah, I think that this could be interesting. Italian heavies for sure, because that's an interesting mechanic. Really, really fun tanks on PC. I've played them a couple times. But yeah, I think that's a good thing for the game. Wheeled light tanks, I'm not entirely sure. I think that they definitely need to be balanced if they're going to bring them into the game, because that is my key aspect. Don't want them ruining the matchmaker. And so, yeah, maintain that and try and balance it to the best of their ability. I know that probably the speed boost on console kind of came in line to probably stop the wheeled light tanks being that much faster and try and diversify what tank you would be playing. So as long as the wheeled light tanks cannot actually get that speed boost on them as an equipment slot, if that happens, that's an absolute joke. That would be an absolute joke. And I think that if they do that, that would be one of the worst things that they've ever done. Definitely do not want the wheeled light tanks to have the ability to have that speed boost from the equipment. It should not be a thing. If it is, Wargaming need to seriously sort that out, and definitely don't bring that into the game, because you will alienate a lot of the player base and it will just become even worse than what PC had at the beginning when they were first introduced. So yeah, do not want that in the game if that is what they're coming in like. Make sure that they try and ban the equipment from being used. Similarly to some of the other equipment, you know, having advanced load or the advanced loader equipment on autoloaders. Similarly, light tanks shouldn't be able to have, or the wheeled light tanks definitely shouldn't be able to have the speed boosts. That is what is coming, what Wargaming have gone on about. We have got a lot of information there. Obviously, you can, you know, go back and have a look at some of the different things. It's all timestamped, so you can literally ping across between all of the various aspects of this news update. And update news for World of Tanks console and Modern Armour, Cold War, World War II, new tanks, various different other content coming to World of Tanks. And yeah, hopefully it was kind of a good source of information. If it is, please hit that like button, as it does take a little bit of time to make. And yeah, I really do. You know, just you viewing it is good enough for me, but it obviously helps the video out quite a bit. And obviously leave your comments in the comment section down below if you have any regarding this. Obviously it's good to get a discussion, and I like seeing some of your content or comments that you actually put on the videos, because, you know, it's kind of rewarding when I see people talking about the video and what kind of things they'd like to see, and it's always good for coming up with suggestions to Wargaming as to what I think that the community are actually feeling, because if you don't put your comments, it doesn't, you know, no one's going to see them. You know, you can rant as much as you want at home, but if you're not actually outputting it anywhere, then it's not really getting anything done. So hopefully you guys do that. And if you aren't subscribed already, remember to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Obviously, there's some content on the screen right now that you can have a look at. We've got some guides and gameplay for what console. We've also got some variety of other content coming out very soon, so that should all be on screen right now. And of course, subscribe if you're new, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.